You know, here at Fully Booked and Caffeinated, we love coffee, but there are so many options to choose from in the coffee game. So how can you narrow it down? Well, allow us to help. Afuera Coffee is a company that sources their specialty beans from Central and South America, and the environment is quite literally in every bean. The volcanic soil infuses each coffee bean with vibrant and unique flavors. They have a flavor for everyone based on your personal tastes. Bold espresso for me, smooth light roast for Heather. And that's not all. The best part about Afuera Coffee is the ethical sourcing and sustainable farming practices they use to give you the best coffee while still protecting Mother Earth. And there's more. 5% of all sales are donated back to charities that provide conservation efforts to the great outdoors. If you don't believe me, go to their website, afueracoffee.com, and click on the 5% pledge tab. They have some great info on how much their pledge to charity has already impacted the environment. So check out Afuera Coffee if you're looking for great tasting, vibrant coffee, and you can rest assured knowing that you're contributing not only to your own happiness, but to the environment that we so desperately need to protect. This is an exclusive discount for listeners of our show. Use our promo code to get 15% off any product at afueracoffee.com. That's AFUERA coffee.com. Use promo code CAFFPOD, CAFFPOD. Again, that's afueracoffee.com, promo code CAFFPOD for 15% off sustainable and ethically sourced coffee.
Hello, and welcome to your favorite bookish podcast, Fully Booked and Caffeinated. I'm Heather.
And I'm Kelsey.
And today we are discussing Liane Moriarty's mystery novel, Big Little Lies.
Mystery novel. Interesting.
I mean, it also had psychological thriller listed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was
a choice.
Oh, what was the other one? I cannot recall. So I thought mystery was like the best word I could go with for this moment in time.
Okay.
We're just going to roll with it. So before we dive in, what's your coffee sitch been?
Well, yesterday, before we went to our gluten-free sunshine walk, I got a giant Quick Check iced coffee. And I just forget how much I love Quick Check iced coffee.
I don't think I've ever had Quick Check iced coffee.
It's so good. And it's my go-to for when I'm going to the beach. Because I usually stop at Quick Check to get like snacks or a sandwich or something. And it's just giant for, I don't know, like under $3.
It did. I remember I saw it yesterday. I was like, that looks like a big iced coffee.
Yeah. And you can make yourself, so I barely had any ice in there. That was all coffee, baby.
Ooh,
and I drank the whole thing, slurped to the bottom.
Very good.
So it was delicious. I just got their regular blend. They had like 3 other blends. I just got the regular. What about your coffee?
I didn't try any new fun places this weekend. I just had my usual Dunkin' caramel concoction of sorts. Okay. Saturday was a latte. Yesterday was a coffee. So, nothing fun in my life with pertaining to coffee.
Listen, as long as there's coffee, everything will be all right.
Exactly. As long as I have caffeine, all will be well. So, Liane Moriarty is from Sydney, Australia. And I just have to say, now that I've watched every episode of Bluey 50 times, there were so many phrases in this book that I kept thinking of Bluey. Because they say a lot of the same words.
Wait, Bluey's Australian?
Yes!
I didn't know that.
Yes!
Oh, wow, I love Bluey.
I know, like when they bring up at one point when what we call head lice, they call nits. And there's a whole episode based on nits on Bluey.
Oh my gosh.
And there was other words that I'm just like, oh wow, this is pretty great, actually. So I enjoyed it reading it just from that little tidbit. And she has written numerous novels. This is not her first novel. I believe her first novel is either, oh, you know what? I don't remember. But 2 of hers that I have read that came out earlier than this one were The Husband's Secret and What Alice Forgot, which both were pretty good books.
Okay, so this book, apparently, I swear on everything I've never read this book, okay? I know I haven't.
Okay.
But Goodreads told me otherwise.
Oh, did it?
To the point that there was a rating on Goodreads. I was like, I read this and rated it? I still don't think so, and maybe it was a different book and I just did it wrong. I don't know, but I literally went to my Goodreads to mark currently reading, and it was like, girl, you've already read this and rated it. And I was like, oh. Unbeknownst to me. Maybe I saw the TV show and was like, well, Good is reading it.
Yeah, this was a reread for me that I remember it being a reread for me. I do remember reading this book.
Allegedly.
But anyway, so a lot of her novels seem to get adapted for television series, like most people nowadays. And this Big Little Lies specifically debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, making Liane the first Australian author to debut in the top spot in the US.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I like that. That was a fun information that I would have never known had I not looked her up. And then when the book came out, Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon immediately snapped up the film and television rights. And the HBO limited series that came out of it was critically acclaimed. It was pretty much a smash hit, and it went on to win multiple Emmys. Mm-hmm. So, and then they immediately also bought Nicole Kidman definitely at least got 9 Perfect Strangers because she was in it. I don't know if Reese Witherspoon was in on that one, but yeah. So, I mean, big names. Mm-hmm. So she's clearly doing something right.
Oh my god, I know. The TV show has such an all-star cast. It's insane.
Yeah, it really, really did. Well, it was also like written by David E. Kelley, and he's such a good show creator. So they got really lucky with that.
Loves a domestic suspense thriller.
But apparently there's a sequel coming out in August, which I didn't know until a month or so ago. And it's called Big Little Truths. And I don't really know what it's about. I'm kind of going to go into it YOLO. It's, I guess, kind of... I'm wondering if it's going to be based off of a little bit what the show did, because it continued on for 2 more seasons. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't anything to continue on with, because there's only 1 book. So, I'm wondering if maybe... Because she was part of, the screenwriting process.
Okay.
Creator of the show, so it's quite possible that maybe she's like, you know what, this could also make a good book. Mm-hmm. She's switching it up. All right, our story graph, who's at 4? All right, I want to know your rating here.
Ooh, okay.
After I'm done. A tense contemporary mystery exploring the fragile facade of domestic perfection and the danger of small lies. Ideal for readers who enjoy medium-paced suspense, biting social commentary, and emotionally charged character studies centered on friendship, motherhood, and the dark secrets hiding behind suburban elegance.
Okay. I agree with most of that.
Mm-hmm. It's not really a word salad.
Not too word salad.
It's actually a pretty much, well explained.
It seems like all of the little blurbs you would read on the front of a book.
Yeah.
A bunch of those put together.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty good. I would say a B+.
Right?
Yeah,
that's what I thought too when I was writing. I was like, oh, this actually is pretty not too bad. Mm-hmm. Maybe because barely anything happened, and that's why.
I was going to say, I wouldn't say it was emotionally charged.
No.
Per se.
Yeah, no.
But okay.
So, a murder, a tragic accident, or just parents behaving badly. What's indisputable is that someone is dead. Madeline is a force to be reckoned with. She's funny, biting, and passionate. She remembers everything and forgives no one. Celeste is the kind of beautiful woman who makes the world stop and stare, but she's paying a price for the illusion of perfection. New to town, single mom Jane is so young that another mother mistakes her for a nanny. She comes with a mysterious past and a sadness beyond her years. These 3 women are at a different crossroads, but they will all end up in the same shocking place. Big Little Lies is a brilliant take on ex-husbands and second wives, mothers and daughters, schoolyard scandal, and the little lies that can turn lethal.
Is the same shocking place just the school trivia night?
Yeah, the balcony specifically.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Also, I didn't even think about the name of the book until they keep saying lies over and over again. And like, yeah, now that I think about it, there were a lot of lies.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
A lot of hiding things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Pretending to be someone you're not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right, before we dive in, shall we take an ad break?
Let's do it.
Here at Fully Booked and Caffeinated, Kelsey and I love a good strong coffee. But sometimes you just need a coffee to take the edge off and not keep you up all night, or maybe you're cutting back on your caffeine intake without sacrificing the flavor. Well, that's where Savorista Coffee comes in. Savorista Coffee offers premium craft decaf and half-calf blends that are small batch roasted for exceptional taste, with ethically sourced beans, natural decaffeination, and bold flavors, such as the Colombian Inspiration Decaf with chocolate, caramel, citrus, and fruit notes, or the Barely Buzzed Half Calf with dark chocolate, toasted marshmallows, and walnuts, which is directly going into my shopping cart. Our listeners can enjoy an exclusive discount of 25% off any product with our promo code CAFPOD. So head on over to Savorista.com and be sure to put in that promo code during checkout. Again, that's Savorista, SAVORISTA.com, promo code CAFPOD, to try out what customers rave to be the best decaf coffee they've ever tried. So before I start, my personal opinion on this book is that it could have been 100 pages shorter.
At least.
And there was definitely more fluff than plot.
100%. There was more internal monologue.
Yeah.
About nothing. Than plot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I didn't remember that. So as I'm like reading this, you know, because obviously I read it like over 10 years ago. I was like, I don't remember it being this boring.
And this is one of those books that you're like, oh, okay, this would make a good TV show because they could cut out all of that fluff part and just focus on the drama.
Yes, I agree with that. So the book is told from 3 separate point of views, more specifically the 3 main female characters. So Madeline, Celeste, and Jane. And then there's also random excerpts from a journalist interview with other parents of the school and townspeople, like interspersed, not in every chapter, pretty much almost every chapter. And it kind of pops up randomly. It could be at the beginning, it could be in the middle, it could be at the end. You don't know. It's a surprise. And the book centers around an event that happened at trivia night at don't know how to pronounce this, the Piriwee. We're going to go with that school. Piriwee. That sounds better. Piriwee school. I'm going to say it like that. Piriwee school. Which we, as the readers, are not privy to until the very end of the novel for 5 seconds. So we are left to speculate on what could have happened.
Yeah, and they like allude to something, and then the further you get into it, then you know someone's dead. Yeah. And the further you get into it, then you know it's a murder. And then the further, like, they do drop some breadcrumbs.
No, they do. They absolutely do. So Madeline is a strong-willed mother of 3 children. Her 2 youngest, Fred and Chloe, she had with her current husband, Ed, and her older daughter, Abigail, is from her former marriage with her ex, Nathan. And Madeline is a complicated creature in that she definitely puts on this funny facade and like being like very much a go-getter, but like inside, like she's definitely dealing with like a lot of emotions that she's not handling well. She's very much like a short fuse, and it doesn't like take much, I think, to set her off, but she's also so passionate about her friendships and her relationships and will do anything to protect the ones that she truly cares about.
Yeah, and it's weird because even though she's so opinionated and like in every situation, especially with her and Ed, she knows what the right thing to do is, and Ed should just be doing the right thing. But then with her friends, she really is non-judgmental in a way that's kind of surprising for her character.
I know, because there were so many moments, specifically with Jane, where, like, we as the readers, from Jane's point of view, she feels like I'm asking for too much from this person that I just recently became friends with. She's going to drop me. She's not wanting to be friends, and it's like the complete opposite. Madeline is. There were so many times throughout the novel where Madeline considers her, like, herself a big sister to Jane, and because, like, her relationship currently with her daughter is fraught, this is kind of like replacing that. She's like being able to help someone, you know, when she's not able to do that for Abigail right now.
Yeah, and she sees that Jane is desperate for a friend, and instead of being her, like, super hovering and controlling way, Madeline just kind of lets her open up, which is really sweet.
It is. And, like, you wouldn't expect it, I feel like.
Exactly.
So that was a nice character arc for her. And she holds resentment that Abigail is growing close to Nathan's new wife, Bonnie, who is described as, like, hippy-dippy. And she has, like, a very lackadaisical look on life, and everything is happy-go-lucky. She's, like, a yoga teacher. And it's just really, really funny because, obviously, I'm picturing Zoe Kravitz, because that's who played her in the show, and this is not her character at all, because she's, like, blonde.
I know.
And, like, and the way that she is in the book, I'm like, oh, this is not Zoe Kravitz whatsoever.
Yeah, and they do make Zoe Kravitz into a hippie and all this stuff.
Yeah, they do.
But so not what you're picturing from the book.
No, absolutely not. There was a couple times where I'm like, oh, wait, like, I'm still going to envision her as Zoe Kravitz. But what you're describing is not Zoe Kravitz, so it's throwing me off a little bit. And then at one point in the novel, Abigail does ultimately choose to move into Nathan's home, which Madeline does not handle well, but she accepts her daughter's choice. But, you know, so in this scenario, it's already tough for Madeline because, and that's another reason why she relates so much to Jane, is that she was a single mother for so long because Nathan left when I read that one chapter, when he was like, I can't do this anymore. And Madeline's like, yeah, me either. And I'm like, oh, I so get that. But then, like, he actually dipped out and just, like, left.
And went traveling the world.
Newborn. And, like, so he had no part in her, in, like, raising her. He knew nothing about what it was like. He kind of, like, only recently came back into the picture when they moved to, like, the same town with their daughter. So it's a lot. It's a lot to, I can only imagine what that would feel like to have the person that you've been attached to since their birth, and you know that the relationship you've created with them, and for them to just be like, I'm going to go live with someone that I have only really been close to for the past couple of years.
And that resentment of her and Abigail being so close and having, like, that amazing relationship, and then losing her to Nathan, on top of now Nathan is this, like, dad of the year. He shows up to all the kids' stuff. He's super present and this great dad. And she's like, okay, so now your new kid gets all those benefits, but Abigail never did. Yep.
So that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. And she's a better woman than me. I'll say that. Because she's and she's, like, kind of, like, accepted the fact, because she's been feeling Abigail pull away, you know, a lot of recent, considering, like, how close she has become to Bonnie. You know, like, she comes home now, she's vegan. She's like, oh, I don't watch TV anymore, so we can't watch America's Next Top Model. Like, you know what I mean? So it's a lot. It's a lot to watch your daughter change into someone that you don't recognize.
Exactly. And I love the way that Madeline talks about Bonnie, because she's like, oh, and I wish I could hate her, but she's just so likable. It's impossible to hate her. And you just know that Madeline would feel so much better if Bonnie was this, like, horrible person.
If she was, like, a blonde Bob character.
Exactly.
But no, she's got, like, a heart and, like, a soul.
And just, like, cares about other people and is so giving and friendly and accepting. And she's like, I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have Celeste, who is described numerous times as just being beautiful. And
like,
that people, she like shines too bright. People have to look away.
Like, people have to shield their eyes.
Yeah.
And she walks in the room and everyone's like, oh my God, my eyes look upon thy beauty.
And she apparently doesn't wear makeup, doesn't dress well, but she still doesn't matter.
She always looks skittish and awkward.
Mm-hmm. And she's married to Perry, and they have twin boys, Josh and Max. And Celeste is hiding a dark secret behind her facade of perfection. She is unfortunately being physically abused by her husband, and instead of leaving the relationship, you know, and like in most domestic violence cases, unfortunately, she chooses to stay, believing that he can change. And then what's like an interesting twist that's thrown on it is that she blames herself because she fights back. Like, how crazy is that? She's like, well, I said the wrong thing. Like, she's so manipulated by Perry to the point that she thinks that she's doing everything wrong when she's clearly not. He just isn't a terrible human being.
Well, and it's also this, like, the way that society views victims of domestic abuse. Like, even when she goes to the counselor and she's like, oh, I'm sure you've seen so much worse. Like, because she pictures a small woman cowering in the corner being beat up on and not ever standing up for herself or fighting back. And that's not the case.
Yeah.
But, like, she has it in her mind that because that isn't her situation, that hers just isn't that bad.
And it's just, like, sad. Because it's, you know, it's almost worse that you think that that what you're going through is not as bad as what other people are going through. It's like, no, it's equally as bad. No matter what, if whoever, your significant other laying a hand on you in any way, shape, or form is not okay. And if you retaliate back, good on you. I guess you're just, you know, she's lucky enough, if this were a real life scenario, that her husband doesn't kill her for that. You know, because I feel like in realistic situations, if a woman were to fight back, that would be it.
Yeah, and we do kind of get her journey of accepting that it is as bad as she thinks, like, because when the counselor's like, well, did you ever think that you were going to die? And she's like, no. Oh, well, yeah. Yes. And then once she brings that up to the counselor, she keeps bringing it up in her mind and, like, can't let go of it now. Yeah,
I think her seeing the therapist was the breaking point she needed, and it was definitely helping her turn her life around. And she does end up coming up with a plan to leave with her therapist, and she ends up renting an apartment nearby, but doesn't move in right away. She just kind of is slowly furnishing it, getting it prepared, because, you know, the next time it happens, she's going to leave. So she keeps telling herself. So now she's ready. She's going to take the boys and she's going to go. And then we have Jane, who is our young single mother with a mysterious past, and her son's wonderful name is Ziggy. And I love this so much. This is such a fun name. So when Jane was 19 years old, she met a man named Saxon Banks while out with a friend and went back up to his hotel room to engage in consensual sexual relations. But it turns for the worst, because during the intercourse, Saxon says some pretty disgusting things to Jane and essentially ends up sexually assaulting her. And that is what causes her to become pregnant with Ziggy. So now you have this young girl, she's not even a woman yet, she's 19, and who was told that she would never get pregnant because of her endometriosis, has now gotten pregnant by the worst person possible. And, like, that's a lot to, like, grapple with.
After she was going through this horrible breakup with, you know, her, like, high school sweetheart, basically, who she was in love with. And who she obviously never was impregnated by. But
no,
there's always that thing of, like, her mom being like, are you sure he isn't the father? And she's like,
I know.
Why wouldn't I tell you if he was the father?
Yeah, like, she doesn't really tell anyone. Like, the first person she ever tells about Saxon is Madeline.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, she has gone 5 whole years, not even, like, 6 years, not even telling anyone.
Which is brave, because Madeline can't keep a secret for shit. So, and, like, she does keep her secret, but it's one of those things, Madeline has this persona, but when it does really come down to it, she's an amazing friend.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, and it's like, so, like, Madeline and Celeste must be such special people for Jane to even feel comfortable enough to, like, open up to them. Especially since Jane feels so out of place in this area as it is, and she tends to, like, bop around a lot. And, you know, we don't know why she, like, chooses to be here. And then, like, we eventually find out that Saxon was from this area, so she's has in her mind that she's gonna bump into him. So she keeps trying to talk herself out of it. She's like, I wasn't really gonna move here, but then I did.
And we also, to your point of why she opens up to them, it's kind of surprising with Celeste, because Jane always has this inner monologue of how Celeste is just so incredibly beautiful that she makes Jane feel inferior. And she's kind of a little standoffish and a little awkward. And, like, they all describe her like this. But obviously there's something about Celeste that draws these people to her, because Madeline loves her and Jane feels comfortable enough to open up to her. So there's obviously something to Celeste.
Yeah. And, like, I almost wish that we had, if there was anything I would have liked in these 100 extra pages, is the growth of her friendship with Celeste on, like, their walks. Because, like, they take walks together when they drop the kids off around. And it was like, that's really nice that there's something that, like, they're doing for each other. Because they're like, yeah, we never work out. You'll never catch us in a gym.
Exactly. And, you know, something else about Celeste, I wish that we got more of her, why she is the way she is. Because with Madeline and Jane, we get, you know, like, their home life, their work life, like, all these aspects to their personality. And the only other thing we get from Celeste is her, like, furnishing this apartment.
Yeah.
Which doesn't tell us much about
I agree with
her.
that. Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like there definitely could have been more character description instead of just kind of the same thing over and over again. It would have been nice to see the characters expanded on.
But boy, did it make me want a coffee from this goddamn coffee shop. The amount of times they talk about this damn coffee shop, the amount of pages of Jane talking about being in or around or thinking about this coffee shop could have filled up its own book.
I know. But also, like, relatable. I get it. When you find that coffee shop, man, gotta hang on to it.
And there's a hot barista.
Who she thought was gay. Spoiler alert, he was not gay.
Not gay. I was like, this man sounds hot as fuck.
Yeah. So so Madeline and Celeste do already have a close friendship, and they bring Jane in, and it's just like this nice, and I feel like you wouldn't expect the three of them to be friends because they are such different personalities, but that's probably also why they work and why there's not, like, any drama that ensues from their friendship. And all their children, Chloe, Ziggy, Josh, and Max, are all entering the new kindergarten class at Pirowie Public School. And this was another Bluey moment because they kept calling it Kindy, and that's what they call it in Bluey, is Kindy.
Cute.
And I'm like, now I want to call it Kindy. So at the orientation for kindergarten, one of the young girls, Amabella, not to be confused with Annabella, it's French, get it right, accuses Ziggy of hurting her. Ziggy vehemently denies bullying Amabella, and there's no actual evidence that he did, but alas, the damage has been done. One accusation is all it takes. And Renata, who is Amabella's mother, and her little gaggle of friends, otherwise known as the Blonde Bobs, all become very critical of Jane and Ziggy, even going so far as not inviting Ziggy to Amabella's birthday party and starting a petition to get a 5-year-old suspended from school, with no actual proof that he is the one causing any type of bullying or harm on this young girl.
And Amabella has literally, not since that day, named him as her bully.
And they're like besties.
Yeah,
they
together
love
all the time.
Wars, you know? And
well, the reason that it became such a huge deal is because Jane, believing that Ziggy would not lie to her, doesn't force him to take accountability and apologize, and that pisses Renata off.
Yeah.
So now she has this whole, like, vendetta against Jane and Ziggy, a fucking 5-year-old.
Yeah. And it's just... Obviously, it's sad for Ziggy because throughout the novel, like, there's moments in time where he's like, I'm told I can't hang out with this person, or they tell me that their parents say that they can't play with me. And it's like, can you imagine? That is, like, such a huge time in a child's life. You know, not only are you growing up, but you're attending school for the first time. Hypothetically, you're making friends for the first time, like real friends.
And they just moved to this new town. He doesn't have a dad, which he's like very upset about, and he sees all these other dads. Like, he's just going through a lot. That broke my heart.
It really did. And like, he doesn't ever bring up his dad to Jane because like he can tell, like, he's such an empath. And it's like, you're trying to tell me you think this kid that's full of empathy is hurting your daughter? Like, and maybe like open your eyes for a little bit.
And he was such a baby. Like, he was not the bullying type. You know what I mean?
No, and even like the teacher, the principal, they all were like, we don't believe it's him. But unfortunately, no other names have been thrown into the hat, or no one has come forward. And so we're kind of stuck, you know, in this position. But they very much are defending Ziggy. And they're like, don't worry, like, he won't get suspended. You know, nothing terrible is going to, like, come out of this. And they even go as far as hiring a teacher's aide to, like, keep an eye on Amabella and Ziggy specifically. And obviously nothing happens because Ziggy's not her bully.
Yeah. But then on the other hand, they're kind of like, well, Jane, maybe you should just leave because the fact that you're having to deal with all this. And Jane is like, I will not be intimidated out of this fucking school. Good for her.
Yeah, which is good because I feel like she has the capacity to just up and leave. But she's willing to, like, fight through it for herself and for Ziggy.
100%. And Renata is used to people cowering when she threatens them, doing what she says, all that. So the fact that Jane is standing up to her and that Madeline and Celeste are on her side is, like, amazing. Yeah,
I mean, the one, like, hilarious moment is that Madeline gets free tickets to Disney on Ice, specifically on, like, Amabella's birthday. But then, like, as a mom, I feel bad because I'm like, oh, that would suck. Like, this little girl invites all these people to her party and, like, half of them don't show up. And they're, like, are together somewhere else. That's going to have a lasting effect on Amabella. So that's, like, the only thing that Madeline does. And I'm like, you maybe should have rethought that one through a little bit more.
I mean, Amabella's going to have a hard childhood having Renata as a mother, so...
Yeah, I know. Maybe,
she's already
maybe,
dealing
like,
with it.
Maybe you, Celeste, and Jane should have gone to Disney on Ice and not invited the other parents. But she's got a point to prove. So Amabella continues to get bullied, and the parents are unclear on who is responsible, and everyone is becoming increasingly agitated that the school bully basically remains at large. Like, everyone is just like, you can just feel, like, the tensions rising. You know, Jane keeps walking in on conversations that people are obviously talking about her because they have nothing else to talk about, I guess, in this town. This is, like, the huge thing.
And the little kindergarten teacher is like, I swear to God, I watch them all the time. Even though I have so many kids, I'm trying the best I can.
I know.
And still, there's a bully just, like, sneaking around behind me.
And Jane does initially worry that Ziggy really is the culprit because his father is a violent man. And so she obviously has the worry that he has somehow genetically got his tendencies. And so she eventually takes him to see a psychologist or psychiatrist. Doesn't matter. And they do not believe that Ziggy is the bully. And they actually believe that Ziggy is holding something in and or maybe struggling with something himself at school, that he himself may be getting bullied. And so Jane is like, hold the front door. What? Now you've like thrown a whole wrench into this. And Jane then realizes that no one's ever outright asked Ziggy if he knew who the bully was. They just kind of dance around it, and they're like, you know, they just assume that it's him. And, you know, no one's ever been like, well, who do you know? And so when she finally does ask Ziggy, he's like, well, I can't tell you. And Jane's like, well, why? And he's like, well, you know, I promised Amabel that I would never tell anyone. And so Jane, being like a slick mom, she's like, well, write it, because that's not the same. Which, you know, loophole.
5-year-old logic, baby.
I know. And lo and behold, it is revealed that Max, one of the twins, is the bully. And he has now moved on to bullying Skye, who is Nathan's and Bonnie's sweet little daughter, and is like pushing her downstairs, which is insane because he was biting Amabella, and then he's just pushing Skye downstairs.
The stairs thing is a severe underreaction. We, like, never talk about it again. And I'm like, he's pushing a small... Because she's, like, small for her age. Like, she's little. And he's pushing her down the stairs.
They definitely make her seem, like, meek, you know?
Yes, like, tiny and waifish, they say. Yeah. And he said, Max pushed her down the stairs again. Girl, what?
Yeah. So... anyways, Jane realizes that she has to share this information with Celeste and plans to at tomorrow night's trivia. And as I had said before, Jane does share with Madeline and Celeste her encounter with Saxon Banks, and which is like a fancy fucking name, by the way.
I know. I just think of like Saks Fifth Avenue. Like I just think of a rich Wall Street person.
Same. And then Celeste, so when Jane first told Celeste about it, she didn't say his name. She just told her the situation. But she had relayed the name to Madeline. And then when Madeline and Celeste were talking about it and she reveals the name, Celeste is like, hold the phone. That's Perry's cousin. Like, is it the same person? And so now the two of them have, like, all this knowledge, because Madeline also, against, like, Jane's wishes, like, looks up who Saxon Banks is, and she finds him, and she sees that he's married and has, like, 3 daughters. So he's like, oh, Ziggy has all these half-siblings, you know, and then Celeste is kind of like, well, I know personally this person. He's related to my husband. So now they both kind of have, like, this knowledge they wish they didn't have, realistically.
Pretty much. Because then it's this, like, do I tell him? Do I bring it up to him? But we know that we can't bring anything up to Perry. And then Madeline's like, oh, yeah, you shouldn't. And then she's like, I'd tell Ed. I'd be running up and screaming in Ed's face. What the hell's the matter with your family? And
yeah. You know, and, like, Celeste already has this fractured relationship with her husband. So if she were to say, hey, your cousin impregnated some young girl a couple years back, that's not cool. And, like, personally, she loves Saxon. She's like, he's got, like, this jovial personality, and, like, you would never think that that's something that he could do, but...
And that he's this amazing husband, and he loves his wife, and she could never picture him doing that, and the whole nine.
Exactly, so... gets the brain thinking. And the night we have all been waiting for arrives. It is officially trivia night, where the dads must dress up as Elvis and the moms must dress up as Audrey Hepburn. But the one person was like, no, I'm dressed up as Elvis. Who says that I have to, like... There's no gender identities here. I can be whoever the fuck I want to be.
But also, the elaborateness of this goddamn kindergarten, that they're having a themed trivia at, like, a banquet hall with an open bar and food and... Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. As Celeste is getting ready, Josh, the non-violent twin, ends up sharing with his mom that Max is the bully at school. And Celeste is understandably shocked. And she realizes that while she felt that they were hiding the violence away from their children, clearly they had not been. Because she recalls a time when Max had seen either the aftermath or, you know, the act occurring. And I'm sure there were other times. And so obviously Max is imitating what he has since learned from his father, which is just obviously heartbreaking because I'm sure he's a little shit, but like now he's like a super little shit, you know? So we don't love that. While she is speaking with Josh, Perry answers a call that has come in on Celeste's phone, and it turns out to be the property manager of her new rental. So now Perry is aware of Celeste's plan to leave her. So we know that's not going to end well. They argue in the car before heading into the trivia night, and of course Perry cries, trying to manipulate Celeste into staying and claiming that he'll change. But due to Max's violent nature, this is like the final straw for Celeste, and so she's like, I've heard this all before. It's over. Like, we're done. I'm taking the boys and I'm leaving.
Yeah, because she always said, she said this to her therapist, and she says, like, in her inner monologue, like, if Perry ever hurt the children, I would 100% be out. Like, that would be my last straw. And it's made so clear that Perry is this great father and he's so good with the kids and blah, blah, blah. But she sees that just because he's not hitting the kids doesn't mean he's not affecting the kids. And that's when she's like, okay, I said if it came to the kids, I'd be out, and I mean it.
And this is obviously a totally different perspective that she had never anticipated.
Yes, 100%. Because he was such a good father, and she obviously had no idea, because like you said, the bully was at large.
That's, you know, that's also like such an interesting tidbit too, is that he was this perfect father. And like this perfect husband, and like the persona that he put out into the world, you would never imagine that he was doing something as nefarious as that behind closed doors. But that's usually who it always is.
And he was so filthy rich that he used money to get rid of a lot of problems, like buying her expensive jewelry and like taking her on trips and doing all these things to make up for. And like she would just spitefully spend his money.
Oh, I love that.
I loved it so much, but it didn't make her feel good. I was like, you should be feeling good. I know, Celeste. He deserves this and worse.
And that is like interesting too. I forgot that like he'll like abuse her, then go on work trips, and then come back with like jewelry, and she never wears whatever jewelry that he specifically buys after like an incident. And so she probably just has like a fucking like jewelry box full of like jewelry that she'll never ever fucking wear, and she should sell and just get money. Yeah,
so she can move out. But she's also so resentful of it because she's resentful of his money, because she'll wear, you know, some of the jewelry when he's around, and Madeline will be like, oh, that's a beautiful necklace. And she's like, all I wanted to do was rip it off and give it to her. I don't want it.
Yeah,
but like,
I don't want it.
I can't give Madeline a $50,000 necklace because she would never accept that.
No.
But like to Perry, that's $5.
Oh, I know. Exactly. The chaos then ensues at trivia night, specifically on the balcony. It's like, I feel like you're like in the script. Enter the balcony, a character of its own, to be quite honest. So we begin with Jane and Celeste talking, where they both admit to knowing it was Max who has been hurting Amabella. And when Renata approaches them, Celeste immediately admits to her that it was her son that has been bullying Amabella. And so now Renata is like, well, fuck me. And like, she looks at Jane and she was like, I am sorry. I was very, very wrong, clearly, and I should not have done half of the shit that I did to you.
And the fact that it was all based on some bullshit judgment calls, because she would never imagine that Celeste's perfect twins would be violent little shits.
And her perfect husband that she knows, because they're in the same working circles.
Right.
You know? So... And Jane was very much like, you don't need to, like, say anything right now. Like, Jane was willing to just, like, we can work this out, and, like, you know, but Celeste is like, fuck that. She was like, I want, you know, which is almost
Jane
like...
is a better person than me. I'm sorry.
I know, but that makes me, like, respect Celeste that much more as a mother, because she's, like, owning up that her son has done something terrible and that it's not okay. Whereas sometimes I feel like you have moms who will
make
appease
excuses,
their children and, you know, won't really throw them into the fire when they should be, because you have to learn. How else are you going to learn?
Yeah, and in her mind, she's like, I am going to get Max the help he needs, because he is not going to end up like his father.
No. Eventually, Nathan and Bonnie make their way outside, as well as Ed, Madeline, and Perry. And it is at this moment that Jane recognizes Perry to be the Saxon Banks that assaulted her, and confronts him. Which, like, this obviously was going to be, like, the big reveal. Once Celeste was like, I know him, and then we know, like, Perry's violent nature, I feel like it's not very difficult to, like, put two and two together that he ended up being Saxon Banks. But it is a huge twist for that group of people, because they had no fucking idea. Like, especially that group of friends, like, you know, Madeline and Celeste never in a million years would have imagined that this would have been Perry, like, that Saxon Banks was actually Perry. And it just blows up the entire, you know, society.
Yes, and all the other people who didn't know about Jane's story would never have imagined that Ziggy's father is someone who lives in their community.
Exactly.
Like, they don't know why she showed up here.
Exactly. And, like, that's why she's there, because he alluded to being Saxon Banks and said this, she found, like, a brochure in the hotel, and he was like, yeah, that's the house, like, I'm buying, and she remembered where it was, and, you know, so her whole reasoning for moving here was to hypothetically run into him and be like, this is your son. And he's like, I don't want anything from you, but I just want you to know, like, what you did, kind of scenario, which, like, that's never going to end the way you want it to.
No.
And why do you want to do that?
She just wanted to be like, look how adorable this kid is, and you'll never have him. Bye.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, that wouldn't go over well.
No, it wouldn't. And Perry's reaction is just kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. And essentially ignores her, which infuriates Celeste, and she throws her drink on Perry, and he instinctively hits her, like, slaps her across the face so hard that she falls to the ground. Everyone is just stunned and like, what the actual fuck is going on? Because this all does happen like rapid fire. Like, there's no pause. There's no moment in time where everyone's like, let's just take a beat and like talk this through. It's just like happening quick. And the most surprising moment, which this is the, I will admit, this I never in a million years would have seen coming, which makes it all like the better, is that happy-go-lucky Bonnie, her demeanor entirely shifts, and she accuses Perry of doing that before, and she shoves him away from Celeste. But since the balcony is slick from all the rain, and it's clearly not the right chairs to be sitting on, he apparently, I'm assuming, just fucking like flips over that balcony and essentially falls to his death. Which, you know, good, but also you deserve so much worse.
I was pissed. And like, obviously I knew this happened. I seen the show. But I was pissed. Like, this motherfucker deserves to rot. He deserves to see his kids taken from him, to see Celeste like go on and live this amazing life.
Yeah.
Such a cop-out. It would have been better if he just like fell and like his dick broke off, you know? And
or
then
like he was paralyzed, like, or like paraplegic.
Exactly. And then he had to live the rest of his life as a vegetable and still be aware of what was happening. But alas, I guess Liane Moriarty is not into torture, unfortunately.
She doesn't read as much horror novels as you. So another moment that I loved was that before an ambulance was called, the group just like collectively agrees to lie so that Bonnie won't get in trouble. And like Renata surprisingly starts it off, and she was like, oh, I didn't see what happened. And then Ed, Madeline's poor good-natured husband, is like, what the fuck, to each woman that's like, oh, I didn't see it. Oh, I was looking the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And, all the women in that moment are going to stand behind Bonnie
Mm-hmm.
because obviously they don't agree with anything.
Mm-hmm.
And Renata had also just discovered recently that her husband was fucking the French nanny. So now she also has vendettas against men that aren't faithful in their relationship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's
And
just a lot happening.
I feel like for Ed, he feels like he's in a balcony full of Madeleines because,
Mm-hmm.
like, Madeline would steamroll him and be like, no, this is what we're doing. But the fact that all of them are like, no, this is what we're doing. And he's like looking around like, can I get
Uh-huh.
some ally here,
I
please?
know. And he like was not okay with lying.
I
And like
know.
Madeline was like, you have to. And he's like, okay, like I will. But like Madeline knows like he
But I feel like, why wasn't he okay with it? Like, this guy deserved to die. He just
Oh, I
hit
know.
his wife in front of you. Like, we know, because he knew what happened to Jane, because Madeline told
Yes.
him.
Yes.
So he assaulted Jane, was very physically abusive to her, and then he just happened to fall off a balcony. I don't see the problem.
Maybe he like wants it to go through the proper channels and him be,
That sounds like
justice being served, which would never
yeah,
fucking
that sounds
happen.
like a white man having too much faith in the justice system.
Exactly. Eh, we learned that Bonnie's father abused her mother, and so she was immediately triggered by this domestic violence event, which has causes her like outbreak. And Bonnie decides that I'm gonna tell the truth. Like I'm not. She's very appreciative of everyone being willing to cover for her, but she was like, I can't ask any of you to do that. Good old hippy dippy Bonnie. And she is convicted of manslaughter, but somehow avoids jail time.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't just gets community service for accidentally murdering a man.
I wonder if Celeste paid for her lawyer.
That's a good point.
Because the problem is that if Perry did survive and went through the justice system, nothing would ever happen to him because he was so filthy rich.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
the fact that Bonnie's sentence is community service, she loves community service. It's like a treat for her.
Yeah, probably. She's like, I love picking up garbage off the side of the road. This is great.
And Abigail's like, I'll be right there with you.
I know. So, yeah, that is where we're at. So, not much else to say. So let's take an ad break and then we'll discuss a couple other little minor stories that were interspersed between.
Let's do it. If you're a listener of the pod, you know that Heather and I are booked and busy. We're always looking for ways to make our life easier and to boost our energy and focus, which is why we've got a company for you to check out called Strong Coffee Company. Their instant coffee and latte options not only provide a quick route to your delicious morning coffee, their blends are also infused with 15 grams of grass-fed protein, 5 grams of MCTs, 250 milligrams of adaptogens such as ashwagandha and theanine. If you're like, what the heck does all that mean? It means you'll be getting much better sleep, more mental clarity, and no jitters or crashes. Better sleep means more productivity and more energy to do things you love, like read and listen to this podcast. So if you're committed to being your best, healthiest self without giving up your daily cup of coffee, check out Strong Coffee Company. We've got an exclusive discount for you only for listeners of our show. Head to strongcoffeecompany.com and use promo code CAFPOD to get 20% off any product. This is the highest discount Strong Coffee offers, so make sure to use this code ASAP and let us know what you think. Again, that's strongcoffeecompany.com and use promo code CAFPOD.
If you've been a longtime listener of the pod, you know Kelsey and I are all about pop culture and the entertainment industry. And if you happen to be looking for a one-place stop to shop for officially licensed merchandise, we've got the place for you. Old Glory is the ultimate destination to shop, offering over 300,000 items for music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture fans. This family-owned superstore has provided high-quality clothing and accessories since 1969, featuring the world's most iconic bands, sports teams, fan-favorite apparel, and quirky gifts, which means there's truly something for everyone. With free standard shipping and same-day order processing, Old Glory delivers fast and reliable service with every purchase. So whether you are shopping for yourself or looking for that perfect gift, Old Glory is your one-stop shop for iconic, high-quality merch, and our lucky listeners will receive an exclusive 15% off any product with the promo code CAFPOD. So head on over to oldglory.com to begin shopping their wide range of high-quality merchandise and get that exclusive discount. Again, that's Old Glory, OLDGLORY.com, promo code CAFPOD.
All right, we are back. So, yes, I believe that I have sufficiently covered the basic point of the book, and there's not much else to say, but there were a couple other things that, like, happened that do need further discussion, which, like, the first is that Abigail, who's a 14-year-old girl, creates a website because she's selling her virginity off to the highest bidder. Not bitter. Wow, they sound so similar. B-I-T-T-R.
Bitter.
In order to raise awareness for, you know, other young girls that are basically, like, sexually assaulted. Which, listen, love the initiative. I appreciate where you're going with this. Mm-hmm. However...
This was obviously before GoFundMe's existed.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. But however, this approach is very much wow. Mm-hmm. Like, out of this world wow. And obviously, like, the parents find out about it, and Madeline even, like, addresses it with Abigail, and she was like, you do realize that the first time you have sex, you're just going to give it to some random guy, some grubby old man? Mm-hmm. Like, is that what you want to do? And, like, you know, the more that she's kind of berating Abigail for it, you can, like, sense Abigail is understanding the consequences of her actions, but she's still so, like, headstrong. She was like, oh, well. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. She's not thinking about who the type of people are that would be bidding on something like this, and that she would actually have to go through with it in order to get all this money.
I know, and it's just... It's like a crazy situation. And then when you look at it from Madeline's point of view, this has happened under Nathan's roof. And because they're not paying enough attention to her. So immediately you know that she's placing the blame on him. You know, and it's like, it's a lot. Like, that's a lot. That's a situation no parent would ever want to witness. You don't want to basically witness, like, your daughter having a fucking OnlyFans. Like, just to make money. Like I said, she has, like, the best intentions at heart. She's trying to raise awareness, and, you know, she says, well, those young girls had to get raped or whatever. It's like, why, you know, what's the difference, you know? And Madeline's like, there's a big fucking difference. Yes, it's wrong, and I agree with you. This is terrible. You know, we'll do X, Y, and Z to, like, get awareness. And Abigail is correct, and she's like, it's not enough. Like, no matter what you do, it's never enough.
But she's just too young to know the consequences of what she is doing. Yes.
And then she receives a letter. She's like, I took my website down. I got a letter from this old dude in South Dakota. And he donated $100,000. But he wants me to, like, take down my website. And that's, like, that'll be his, like, gift or whatever. And Madeline's like, I see right through this. This has Celeste written all over it, which, like, also is, like, amazing that, like, her best friend is like, oh, I will not stand for, you know, my friend's daughter subjecting herself to this kind of evilness, realistically.
Yeah, and the fact that Celeste knows that that's nothing for Perry and their financial situation, but also she knows that Madeline would never take the money. So she goes through this whole ruse of writing this letter.
Which is amazing.
100%. And it's so smart, and so Celeste is just so much smarter than anyone gives her credit for.
Well, you know, and then we do get, like, the little bit of background that she was, like, a family law attorney, you know, so she obviously is a smart woman, but because she's being abused by her husband, and she has this demeanor of being, you know, the most beautiful woman in the world who doesn't do anything to make herself more beautiful. It's just, you automatically, she has so much working against her that no one will ever take her seriously.
Perry treats her like a porcelain doll, like treats her like she's, you know, on this pedestal and all this stuff. So it's like, of course, that's how other people are going to view her.
Yep. 100%. So yeah, that was a fun little random. I totally forgot about it, to be quite honest. And it like showed up in the book, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this was a cute little plot point.
Yeah.
And of course, Abigail does like eventually move back home after everything happens,
and Nathan is like, nah, I knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But also, Madeline is so much about blaming other people for everything that happens. Like, when Abigail moves out, she's like, the more I think about it, I think it probably is Ed's fault. Because she doesn't want to be the reason that Abigail left, right?
I know.
Then when Abigail's living with Nathan and does this, she's like, of course it's Nathan and Bonnie, because she doesn't want to admit that she could have had something to do with it.
I know. And like, I hated when she was trying to put the blame on like Ed, because I'm like, poor Ed. He's just trying his best here. Hold on, I'm going to my highlights real quick, because I highlighted a quote. Okay. So when Jane recounts what happened that night with Perry, she focuses more on the words rather than the action. And she explains that she has this quote wherein she says, "It's because a woman's entire self-worth rests on her looks. That's why. It's because we live in a beauty-obsessed society where the most important thing a woman can do is make herself attractive to men." And like, we have talked about this countless times on this podcast about what society expects a woman to be. And so it's so interesting that in this novel, the fact that she's getting sexually assaulted is not the issue. It's the fact that this guy is calling her fat and ugly and that she won't amount to anything. And that's what sticks. And like, that then causes her to like to completely change her appearance to be what she thinks society needs her to be. And it also like tears her down. She becomes, I would say, quite introverted. She probably always was, but now she's like never. That's like gonna be like her existence the rest of her life. She doesn't allow herself to feel any kind of emotions for other men. Like, you know, at one point in the book, they're like reading a book that's like erotic. They have like a spicy scene, and she like gets the tingles, and she was like, I didn't even know I could do that anymore after like what I went through. So like, it's just so sad to like see someone, even just read about a woman experiencing that, because it is like something that we all experience every single day.
Yeah, and I never really thought about it the way that you just said, where she doesn't focus on the violence of it, like the fact that he was choking her and he was hurting her and she was telling him no and he wasn't listening. And I think that's such an important point about, especially in like abusive relationships, right? Like, everyone thinks, oh, if you're not being beat up, then you're not in an abusive relationship. But the fact is, a lot of times you can forget that violence. You can rationalize that violence. We're so desensitized to violence.
Yeah.
But the words are what get in your mind and you can't forget and like completely brainwash you. And that's what sticks with you. So, of course, verbal abuse is just as bad, sometimes worse in some cases.
100%.
And it is so sad that the violent part only comes up when she's thinking, oh, wait, could this have been genetic? Otherwise, the violent part doesn't affect her.
No, it's what he said to her in that very intimate moment. And then she feels fucking foolish. She was like, I never go out. I never dress up. My friend was like insisting that we go and do this. And like, look, this is like the end result. So then she's like blaming herself too. And it's like, it's just all around is heartbreaking. And I can imagine that 1 in every 10 women does this or feels like this because of what we're meant to believe you're supposed to look like and what you're supposed to be like.
Oh,
and
100%.
When high-powered white men say it to you, it affects you more than like you could ever imagine.
Well, even like in past relationships that I've been in, like when I've been with men who, this is not Eric, this is pre-Eric, men who I thought accepted me and who were okay with the way I was, then a few months into dating would make comments about my weight and would say that I should lose weight or that I, you know, like, so now it's someone that I trusted and I thought I could trust, and then they make a comment so it hurts 10 times worse.
Yeah, it completely removes all safety that you ever felt.
Exactly. And to your point, we go through this all the time with strangers, in relationships, and it was also so crazy how deep it went, because of course, like, if you're naked and vulnerable in front of a man and he calls you fat, you're going to feel a type of way about that, right?
Yeah.
But then he told her that she had bad breath.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And
so now, that's right. I totally forgot about that. She just chews gum all the time because she's so incessantly self-conscious.
Her teeth are probably ground down because all she does is chew all this gum. And she's like, even when she's retelling the story to Madeline, she's like, but we went out for Mexican food. Like,
and I went
she's
to it, and I went
to rationalize
I get my teeth cleaned like 4 times a year, and the dentist said I don't have bad breath. And like, it's just, it's just, I think that people truly don't realize how badly words hurt more than like a physical hurt, because you're hitting something that she's already self-conscious about or never thought to be self-conscious about. Like, you're pointing out things about her body and herself and it's just way worse, because now it's like mental and emotional abuse.
And now that you're saying that, I'm thinking about how Perry would do the same thing to Celeste. Obviously, he couldn't insult her looks because she knows how beautiful she is, but he would tell her she was a bad mother. He would, say, you're spoiling the kids. They should have cleaned up their Legos. Like, he would attack the thing that he knew would get to her and that she would believe, that he could gaslight her into believing.
Yeah. So, again, men.
Men. I actually saw this TikTok today. Sorry, sidebar. Where she was talking about how she hates men, because, that's my FYP. But she was like, yes, not all men, but it's always a man.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And that's it. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
What did you think about the interview snippets that were throughout the novel?
Well, I will say the audiobook was very confusing.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
I really liked the narrator for the book, but there was no, there's no way to differentiate when they were talking about the interviews. Like, she would just say the name and then whatever they said. And I was so confused. And it took quite a few times for me to figure out what was happening. So I liked it because it was more of the gossipy part. But I didn't like it because some of it was so irrelevant.
Yes. Yeah. I think that, I feel the same way. Like, I think that it was an interesting aspect to the book, but I also didn't know. I had obviously read this, but when I was reading it the second time, I'm like, are these people being interviewed? I thought it was being interviewed by the police, and then I realized at the very end, I was like, oh no, wait, they're being interviewed by the fucking journalist.
Yeah, because some of them were like police interviews.
I know, that's why I was like, I don't know, I was confused. I didn't love it. I didn't love how it popped in so often. I don't know, it was kind of could have lived without it.
Well, also because it wasn't just about the trivia night. There was other stuff popped in too. Like, they were talking about the petition, and it was it just felt a little all over the place.
I agree. There wasn't enough structure for it. And I'm also kind of curious as to why they would even be telling the journalists all this, but whatever.
It's just people love to yap.
That's true, actually. Nothing a rich person loves more. And what were your thoughts on the women covering up for Bonnie, especially knowing that they didn't all like each other? Madeline already has a rough relationship with Bonnie and a rough relationship with Renata. And Jane and Renata have, this kind of acrimony that doesn't need to exist, but they're all so quick to immediately step up and be we're going to cover for you. And I think it's such an interesting look at how women really can come together for each other, even in moments where they probably shouldn't be.
Yes, and how, in light of what just happened, all of the petty shit that they're squabbling about, which I'm not saying, I mean, a kid biting another kid is not petty, but he's 5 years old.
Yeah.
It's fixable, you know what I mean? Like, all the petty things that they're arguing about in light of what just happened, and now someone is dead and Bonnie is technically a murderer, it's so easy for them to just push that out of their minds and be like, okay, we'll fight about that petty shit later. This is something where we need to put all of that aside. Yeah. So I really liked it. I didn't think it was necessary because they could have just said he tripped. Like, why are we coming up with any, like, he tripped over Bonnie's foot. There you go. Like, that was a little unnecessary, but I get it.
Right? Yeah. No, it was such an... I never would have thought that would be the way the book would end because of how much cattiness is in this book and how much these women talk shit on one another, how their inner monologues, especially like Madeline's thoughts on Bonnie and everything. It's like kind of surreal that in the end they all come together because of the terrible actions of a man. Which, like, love that band together, and as you should.
They can all see parts of their own trauma in him.
Yeah.
Like how you said, Renata, you know, his husband had just cheated. Bonnie sees what her dad did. Like, they all see a different man in Perry. And it triggers every single one of them.
Yeah. 100%.
Ugh.
Yes, this is clearly a book about friendships and motherhood.
Yeah. Well, I did want to say about the friendships when we do get like a little bit after all of this happened, and when Madeline is kind of like beating herself up about not knowing what Celeste was going through.
Yes.
And I was just so struck by that because Madeline is such a good friend and she prides herself on that, and she is so observant and intuitive, and she kind of like blames herself for not knowing because, you know, she says the same thing as Bonnie. Like, the second that Celeste fell, the look in her eyes was not surprise. Like, that had been happening a lot. And Madeline is kind of upset with herself. Like, am I this horrible friend? Do I not see? And it's hard for her to see that because Celeste was hiding it. Like, Celeste made sure that you wouldn't know. And that doesn't make you a bad friend. It just, Celeste was in survival mode.
And I don't know, and I just, like, appreciate seeing it from that lens for Madeline, you know, because she can acknowledge that she's a little, I don't want to say full of herself, but she's very quick to talk about herself. Not in a bad way. That's just, like, who she is. And so in that moment, she was, you know, you're taken aback because you're like, oh, am I really that self-centered that I can't even notice that there's something going on with my friend? And I don't know, like, I think that if I were in that situation, an apology goes a long way. Like, admitting that, like, oh, okay, I see what I did to you, and, like, that I feel terrible that I was never able to fully see that. I think that that'll just make the relationship stronger. Because, like, she's owning up to, like, shit that she didn't even realize she was doing, but she should have been aware of.
Yeah, I think to your point, Madeline is very self-aware. Like, she knows that she can be insufferable sometimes, and she knows that she yaps too much.
Yeah.
But she's like, wait, I thought that I was aware of all my flaws, and this might actually be a flaw that I wasn't aware of. And Celeste is so quick to reassure her.
Oh, I know. She's like, no, like,
I always needed you as a friend.
I was hiding this purposefully. I didn't want not a single person to know what I was going through. So, yeah, it is. It's just all very, you know, when you pick out the pieces of the book, they are, like, very good, valid pieces, but didn't necessarily need all of it with this specific storyline. Speaking of, shall I get to the ratings, or do you have anything else?
Let's rate it.
So I laugh because you said what my rating system is, and it's out of Blue Blues coffees. Because number one, we love coffee and we're a coffee podcast, kind of, and it was brought up so many times in this book, and it just felt appropriate to make that our rating scale today.
Tom was a whole character, but a whole unnecessary character. Yeah, okay.
He was just there. He was just there so Jane could realize that her fanny can still flutter.
Precisely. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Sorry. Blues Coffees. Blues Clues Coffees, which would be a better name.
I know.
But okay.
Anyways.
I rated this 3.5 Blues Coffees because even though I really liked our discussion about it, and I think that the big elements in it, right? Like the abuse, the secrets, the lies, the kids, all this stuff were like very good and made up a very good story. There was so much extra that was so unnecessary. And I think it made a great TV show because you could get all of that stuff out of there. And like, I loved Madeline. I thought like she was my favorite. She was,
I agree.
Her chapters were just so much more exciting than the other chapters. And so I liked the characters. There was just too much extra. And I feel like if she wrote this book now, she would write it shorter.
Probably.
Don't you feel like books used to be longer and fluffier? But now these authors just crank them out so fast.
Yeah.
That now they just do like these little 300-page thrillers. That's what we need. Me giving advice to all the authors. Anyway, unsolicited. That one's for free. What'd you rate it?
So when I originally rated this, the first time I read it, you know damn well I gave this 5 stars.
5 stars, baby.
Upon reflection, I knocked it down a star, and I did do 4 stars because like I don't, and obviously we say this constantly, and I'm sure it's annoying, but we do read so many more books now, and we've read so many amazing stories. And while I do personally love her writing because I've read multiples of her books and I've loved every single one, I was kind of surprised at how much unrelevance was in this book and how I don't think I would have necessarily clocked that the first time I read it because I was young and naive, and it was, not something I would like consider. And I think especially since watching the TV show as well, that kind of alters my view on the book. And it was way too long, and I wish that the ending scene had much more vavoomp like it did like in the show, and I'm kind of like, oh, that's like a disappointing way for it to end.
Yeah, because you don't even get any reflection from the characters on why they protected Bonnie. Like, we're just kind of left to speculate. And they could have expanded on all of that, but instead we had to have multiple chapters of Jane like balancing books for her job.
I know. And like
whatever happened with Pete?
About her clients and like how I was like, okay, this is like not information.
But I was waiting for Pete to come back. Right? I was waiting for Pete to have like started the petition or so. I don't know. Pete never came back, and we heard so much about him.
Yeah, there was a lot of irrelevance. There really was.
Yeah,
but what can we do? It was still a very well thought out plot. It just could have been executed much better.
Yes,
but like she is a very creative writer. Like, I love her other books. So
yeah, and I thought the writing was good.
Yeah, and like I do want to read the sequel. And hopefully it's 100 pages shorter. We'll see in August when it comes out.
Watch, it's probably longer. Oh my god.
All right, is that it? Did we cover it all?
That's it,
to the best of our ability. All right, that is all we have for you today. If you like what you heard, please make sure to follow, subscribe, and rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you listen to us on. If you have any book recommendations or questions for us, you can email us at fullybookedcafpod@gmail.com. Also, be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at fullybookedcafpod to see our upcoming reads. Thank you for checking us out, and remember,
if you need us, we're fully booked. Bye!